One of the biggest mistakes that businesses make is trying to advertise everywhere before they own and dominate anywhere. They want citywide awareness before they even own their own neighborhoods around them. And that's how media budgets get diluted. Because the smartest brands don't start big, they start concentrated. They own and dominate their backyard first. I'm Media Director Holly Andrews, and today our branding strategy is simple but powerful. Own your backyard first. Honestly, this works for almost every category: automotive, healthcare, restaurants, retail, home services, local businesses, because you see, branding starts with repetition, and repetition only works when people actually see you consistently. So when I say own your backyard, I mean this: become impossible to miss in the core geographic area that matters most to your business. Before you spread your budget across the entire market and dominate the areas closest to your market is the most important. Your customers are your strongest opportunity. Because concentrated branding, well, that creates familiarity. Familiar brands, well, they get chosen first. One of the biggest problems I see is that businesses scatter their budgets. A little TV, a little streaming, some social media, some digital, some radio. Suddenly nobody sees enough of anything for them to remember their brand. But when your media is concentrated geographically, now that changes the whole plan. People, well, all of a sudden they start seeing you everywhere: on streaming TV, on YouTube, Facebook, local radio, billboards, cable. Repetition builds authority. Authority builds trust. And you know what I say, trust, well, that builds your brand. You know, one of the best tools for this strategy are cable zones. I know. They've cut the cord. Nobody watches cable. Cable viewing has declined. You're right. All of that is right. However, look closely at your cable numbers. Even though cable viewership and household subscriptions has declined, it still reaches a significant number of people, and enough people that I wouldn't want to ignore. So take a look at your cable. You can pick out your zip codes and zones that reach your customer in your core geographic area. That means your budget works harder because your impressions stay concentrated where your customers actually live. Here's the key. The audience doesn't know you only bought one cable zone. To them, it feels like your brand is everywhere. That perception matters because branding is perception. Now, let's combine that with digital targeting. Of course, we're going to buy streaming. Of course, digital's important. But first layer, your cable zones. Your second layer is digital. So today, with digital and streaming, you can target zip codes, certain mile radius around your store, in-market shoppers. You can target household income, behaviors, even people visiting your competition. Now, imagine that. You're going to layer streaming TV, YouTube ads, social media, Facebook, Instagram, maybe TikTok, mobile pre-roll on your phone, display ads, all within the same geographic footprint as your cable buy. Now your message starts stacking. Someone sees your streaming commercial that night, then scrolling on their Facebook, then they see you on YouTube on pre-roll the next morning. There's no longer random advertising. That's geographic brand domination. Another smart move is layering traditional media with digital, your cable zones. Then maybe once you get a little bit more established, you can add in some radio, maybe an outdoor billboard, but reinforce in the same geographic area. Don't go big yet. Stay local. That's how brands look bigger than their budget, because consistency creates presence. And presence, well, that creates confidence. But here's what businesses underestimate. You see, owning your backyard creates momentum. When enough people in one area know your brand, your referrals grow, recognition grows, trust grows, because people trust brands that feel established in their own community. So this is also where research matters. Look at your customer data. Look at the zip codes that your customers live in, sales trends, their lifestyles. Find where your best customers already are, then double down there first. Too many businesses chase reach. Smart brands build density, because density builds awareness. Density builds memory. Density builds trust. And remember what I said, trust, well, that builds your brand. So owning your backyard is phase one. Once you dominate your strongest areas, then you can begin to expand outward, but strategically. That's how strong brands grow. That's how strong brands survive. Not being everywhere first, but becoming unforgettable somewhere first. So if your advertising feels weak, if your budget feels thin and stretched, if your message feels scattered, you may not need more money. You may just need to concentrate it better and own your backyard first. Layer your media, target strategically, and dominate locally. Then you can expand. I'm Media Director Holly Andrews, because branding isn't about being everywhere. It's about being remembered where it matters the most. This is Holly Andrews. Remember, always stay true to your brand. Now be sure you subscribe to my channel for more stories and strategies behind the media buy.